For the Culture Friday, man. Get all your questions, any questions about anything that you would like to ask myself and Malik. The Nora boys are in the building. Go ahead, put FF next to it, and we'll know it's a question for the Culture Friday. We'll get to those second half of the show. Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm SD2 Mikes, that dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. Brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Left, we're going to talk about the biggest losses that Notre Dame is going to have to replace or fill in the 2023 season. It could be coach or player. So we might as well allow that to be the LL question of the day. Notre Dame fans, LL Nation, what's the biggest loss? What's the biggest loss this off season? The biggest loss this off season that Notre Dame is going to have to feel going into the 2023 season. Left, I'm sorry, man. I saw your text, but I was watching the Simeon St. Ignatius semifinal game. Justin Scott going up against a pretty formidable Simeon team. They're tall. I tweeted out, first of all, the fact that they made them play at 10 a.m. in the morning is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what. I think you're on mute, bro.
How does that even work?
Man, I have no idea. It's never did. The starts have always been at noon. It's always been noon, 2 o'clock, and then the late session is 5 and 7. Right. I don't know why they bumped it up to 10 o'clock this year. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's insane to ask teenagers to play a game at 10 o'clock, which means they have to get to the arena about 7:30, 8 o'clock, start getting ready. Breakfast is probably at 6. It's absolutely insane. And IHSA for years has been ridiculous in the way they handle student athletes on the high school level. So it doesn't shock me. Yeah, it doesn't shock me that they did something like that, but it is what it is. But a very close game. Halftime, early third quarter, I think it was a 1-point game. Justin Scott, first half, I know he had like 6 rebounds and I think 5 points. Going up against 6'8" Twin Towers, the Rubin brothers, both 6'8" for Simeon. Tall task for him. They get their big guy Kopecky back, who was a Miami, Ohio recruit for St. Ignatius. He hadn't played in over a month, and they were able to make it downstate without him. So it's a really good game. Kendall Gill's son, Phoenix Gill, I keep telling people that dude is next in the state of Illinois. 12 points in the first half, playing on his daddy's home court in college down there in Champaign. He's only a sophomore left. I keep telling people like, yo, he's next. This kid is next in the state of Illinois. So once again, St. Ignatius and Justin Scott going up against the Simeon Wolverines. Robert Smith trying to go for his 7th state championship as the head coach. I mean, he's basically trying to become the most legendary high school coach in the history of Illinois basketball.
Simeon?
Yeah, this will be 7, and you have to understand at one time he won 4 in a row.
Dang.
Right? Jabari Parker never lost. Jabari Parker, Kendrick Nunn, and that entire crew won 4 straight state championships, bro. 4. That's insane. 4. And then they got fined and stripped of some wins because when they won the 4th one, they got their medals and they took their shoes off and walked off the court and left their shoes on the court to say, we own this court.
Oh, so why did they get wins stripped?
People didn't like it. It's downstate Illinois and Chicago. 2 different. Downstate Illinois might as well be Texas. And Chicago is definitely a more liberal city, a more democratic city. So it is what it is, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunate, right? Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let everybody know Lucky Lefty Podcast. We're on CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Give us 5 stars. Leave your comments. We appreciate them all. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Um, so yeah, like I said, I think Simeon's going to come out victorious, and that'll be the end to Justin Scott's basketball career because he's an early enrollee. So let me be petty for him in a moment, right? So they go to the sideline reporter. Justin Scott gets a rebound, a steal. He has like this sequence. He gets a rebound, steal, does a pick and roll, pick and pop, hits like a 17-foot jumper, right? Simeon calls a timeout. They come back from the break, go to the sideline reporter. I forget her name. And she's like, yeah, Justin Scott, must be nice to be this talented on the basketball court and have every Power Five school after you on the football field. I talked to him Tuesday night, and he said these are his top contenders for his services. Needless to say, she named the 5 schools that didn't include Notre Dame and Michigan, right? But they included Colorado and Miami.
Oh, of course.
That's when I said, okay, you just lost all credibility with me. You just there's no way. There's no way you just talked to. I talked to him Tuesday, so we're in the same arena. There's no way after he spoke to me that he told you Miami and Colorado were in his top 5.
No way.
No way. I'm like, you just went to the internet and grabbed some names, some schools. I was like, come on, man. I'm being petty though. I'm being petty. But I just felt like, come on. Miami? Lucky Lefty Podcast. Biggest misses. Who would Notre Dame miss the most, Left?
Who would Notre Dame miss the most? Maybe Braden Lindsay taking the top off of the defense.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you for showing Braden Lindsay some love.
But probably Michael Mayer, I think, just because we were so hell-bent on trying to make him the greatest Notre Dame tight end of all time. So it would be interesting to see where those lion's share of the opportunities and targets are going to go to, whether it be more in the passing game dispersely until we find a dude, or in the running game more. Get to see or feature more of the running backs that we have in the stable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an obvious miss. I think Gerard Parker knows that the impact that Michael Mayer had on the offense specifically, and he was there, like he said, in all the meetings. So he was assumingly right next to Tommy, scheming up all the Michael Mayer plays. Hopefully, you have confidence that he knows what's on the team, and I think it's very interesting that he knows what's on the team and still force-fed Michael Mayer, knowing that we have a lot of talent. Maybe it was a controlled thing, but hopefully, with that heavy influence being gone, we get to see Gerard Parker realizing that we have more than just one guy offensively. If that makes sense. But with Gino and the quarterback coach being there, Chancey Stuckey getting a chance to be on the center line and front stage of being more active. I think just being more active in knowing who is hot this week, being more active and knowing how the receivers can get involved with the game plan more. Hopefully we see the lion's share of those targets and opportunities that Michael Mayer consumed so much of be dispersed in a healthy way where we can possibly get a Charlie Jones or possibly get a skill position in a offensively get a skill position up for an award. When's the last time we was up for an Oblitnikov? For the last time we was up for something other than a lineman award or a tight end award? What if, one of the running backs is up for the Doak Campbell? What if we had a receiver up for the Bolitnikov? That'd be a major signifier that we've gotten better in that position group. So there's things that can be measuring sticks for this offense and Gerard Parker to reach that you can clearly see and feel that this offense is gotten better and is not the same as last year.
Mayer's third on my list, Left.
Okay.
He's third on my list.
Who's second?
Second on my list, surprisingly, is Tommy Reese. And because of this reason. You can say what you want to say. Tommy Reese was probably, if not 1A, he was the second best recruiter on the staff. It wasn't even close. That dude has recruited wide receivers. He's recruited quarterbacks. He's recruited offensive linemen. Heck, he was one of the main recruiters on Justin Scott because he's from Chicago. He was the one going to his basketball games. And he was the offensive coordinator, right? Especially in a year where you have 5 legitimate prospects from the city of Chicago that Notre Dame needs to be in on. 5 legitimate. I've been telling people for over a year that Marquise Lightfoot is going to be a dude in college. Everybody else wants to wait for his junior film to come out and see film. I'm like, dude, I watched this dude up close and personal. Same way I watched Darian Dupree up close and personal. I told people last year, before the Notre Dame offer, Darian Dupree is out here dominating cats for Mount Carmel. Dominating cats. Now Alabama's on him. Now Michigan's on him. Now everybody's like, oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
I've been told you. Before Notre Dame got on Justin Scott, I was talking about him. He's a stud. What's wrong? They need to get on him.
Looks like they heard you.
If they walk away in the 24 cycle and the only person they get out of Chicago is Cam Williams, it's a big problem. They don't have anybody on the staff that can stamp a flag in Chicago. Nobody. And that's a problem.
That's right down the street.
You stamping flags in Texas. You're trying to stamp flags in Georgia. You're stamping flags out in California, but you have no flag in one of your biggest Subway alumni bases. Heck, one of your biggest alumni bases. The city
we got a couple flags in Canada. Got a flag in Germany.
No city has given Notre Dame more lettermen on the football field than Chicago. And you have no one to stamp that flag on the staff. No one. No one.
Whose fault is that?
Bro,
what do you think?
Look, man.
Somebody's got to be to blame. Something's got to be to blame. Is it the quality of sports and the 4 or 5 stars that come out of there, or is it just kind of
JJ McCarthy is from here.
We got Julian.
They got 2. Ohio State just got 2 wide receivers, 5 stars out of Chicago in the last 3 years. That's another one. The Brown kid that went to a Catholic school up here in Cardell Tate. They both went to Ohio State.
No, recently. I remember.
That's in the last 3 years.
The only guy I remember during my time was Laquan Treadwell. And then we got Niles from the same
Well,
school.
they from the same school.
That's what I'm saying.
They're from the
JJ
same school.
McCarthy and Julian Love are the same school. You
So I'm
know?
like, yo, I'm not saying because it's different. Look, I'm coming off of watching Illinois lose to Penn State for a third time in basketball last night, bro. So I might be a little emotional on this for the Culture Friday.
Y'all had it though.
But
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, once again, Illinois is downstate. So people downstate don't think they need Chicago.
Mm.
And I have to tell them, you go do your research and research the best 5 teams Illinois has ever had. They were all heavily Chicago influenced. So I don't want to hear that. If you want to be good at basketball, you better come get some players from Chicago.
Right.
Period.
Definitely.
Notre Dame football is
Definitely.
different. Football is a little different because it's not like Illinois is a football hotbed like that.
Right.
But it's not bad.
Like it's not bad, but I think Tommy probably knew more of where to go because he's from Chicago.
And therein lies the issue. You have to have relationships with the coaches, right? Brian Kelly did not have a relationship with coaches in the area. It was Tommy.
Mm.
I think Tommy is going to have a profound effect on recruiting in this area in the class of 2024. Profound. I think it's more underrated than people think. I think people think, oh, we're gonna be okay. Like, no, all the connections in Chicago. That dude literally before he spent a week in Chicago recruiting the 24 class and the 25 class before he left for Alabama. He was in Chicago for a week. He knew the talent that was coming in both classes.
Yeah.
So for me, and just hearing the fact that they still talk to him, trying to catch up on things. As far as the offense, and you pointed out yesterday, Left, what offense are we going to be running?
Yeah, that's a huge concern. Well, I think
like,
maybe more so of what's the identity. I know because the only reason why I say what's the identity because it was so different.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus Freeman acknowledged it. It was different than what he wanted, going on searches for guys like Andy Ludwig and the Kansas State guy Klein. He acknowledged, he said, this may not be what I want, but this is going to help. So that doesn't push me towards any more of a consensus that they're confident that, oh, we got JT that could possibly be our number one receiver. We got Aldrich, we can still run with. I think a lot of that really comes back to they don't know who they want to start. And I think this because the two quarterbacks are very different in what you would want to do to be most successful, that is almost like two different offenses. So I don't think they've quite chosen which direction they want to go, but the only way they can start is with what they had last year, which is Tyler Buckner. That puts naturally Sam in a tough position of, what am I doing here then? If you bringing me here to learn from Tyler Buckner, I just don't think that's the way it's supposed to naturally occur. If we want to bring a guy in like that, we're not bringing a guy in to learn from the guy that we're bringing a guy in for.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you bringing a guy for a guy that we're trying to get him to teach what to do? That just doesn't. I think Sam is thinking of it like that. He's probably like, why is Tyler leading the meetings and I'm here to be the savior?
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to be LeBron James and you got Larry Hughes out here teaching me what to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So for me, that's as much as people fall on either side of the coin with Tommy Rees as far as offensive coordinator.
That's true.
I know who he was.
You said you know who he was.
And I'm willing to admit the things that he was good at. And I think Doma Wap brings up an interesting point. Don't forget, TR openly admitted he stepped up his recruiting game when MF arrived. Who didn't?
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
nobody on Brian Kelly's staff
recruiting
recruited.
though.
Brian Kelly didn't even. No one
Yeah,
on Brian Kelly's staff recruited hard. No one.
no one.
And Tommy
Because
was
they
still
took
one
the
of the.
lead of the head coach. The head
Absolutely.
coach was, you know what I'm saying? The head coach wasn't trying
Yeah.
to push how he was pushing. So when the head coach started pushing,
Yeah.
shoot, you better start recruiting better if he's recruiting.
Absolutely.
If you want to
Absolutely.
stick around, you better start doing something.
Absolutely.
So,
That's,
but
and Tommy was one of the best recruiters on Brian Kelly's staff.
yeah, and
That's,
that's not saying much. But
no, it's not because they didn't do anything.
they ain't do nothing.
They basically went and got people that pretty
Let's
much
see if
wanted to be
Tommy.
at Notre
See,
Dame.
you can get the ultimate judge just like we did with Alfred. Alfred went from the best recruiter at Notre Dame and was the best recruiter at Ohio State. Let's see if Tommy's the best recruiter at Alabama.
Absolutely.
Let's see if he's the best. And then we can be like, okay, yeah, he's good. If you're not the best recruiter at Alabama, which is gonna be hard now.
Right.
You may not be better than Saban naturally. I get that, but we better be here about you pulling off some crazy stuff too.
Yeah. So you have no choice but to hope that somebody on this new staff, people in the chat are talking about this guy recruited Chicago. It's a different. Everybody recruits Chicago. Recruit Chicago don't mean a darn thing. Who can stamp a flag? Tommy Freeze had a flag in Chicago because of relationships. I'm talking about deep.
Well, he didn't pull Carnell Tate. He pulling defense.
No. I'm talking about relationships. So whereas he could go call cats, he didn't have to build relationships. The new staff has to build a plethora of relationships. I could tell you who has relationships with the Kenwood program, with the Phillips program in the city. I can tell you who has deep relationships with them. It ain't nobody on Notre Dame staff right now. I will say this, and talking to Marquise Lightfoot, he talks to Al Washington probably more or just as much as he talks to any other assistant coach. And that's straight from his mouth. He said he talks to him consistently. So could Al Washington, who he was the one accompanying Tommy Reese on the trips to Chicago, could he be the one that ultimately plants the flag? He could be. He could be. But the class of 24 and 25, we're playing catch up. That's all I'm trying to point out. We were in the game and ahead of the game because we had a guy that had a Chicago flag on the staff. We don't have a Chicago flag guy on the staff. We have people that can try and build that type of representation with Chicago coaches. You're playing catch up in two classes in 24 and 25 that are full of talent.
Full of talent.
Full of talent. Like the class, look, Christian Betancourt is a tight end, 4-star, might eventually be a 5-star. Notre Dame, he wanted to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wanted to go to Notre Dame. They chose to go after Riddell out of St. Louis and Carter Nelson, which you watch their film. Now you tell me, as an Ohio dude, this is a great conversation we can get into. What's the value on taking an Ohio dude that might be a half step behind another athlete from Florida? So you have an Ohio kid that loves Ohio State, that's a 4.5, or a Florida kid that you're not sure you're going to get, that's a 5. For that
the first
program,
thing is Ohio kids are never a step behind.
here we
You see
go.
what I'm saying? Just
Can we stick?
it's the better framing is which step do you want to, what direction do you want to step? That's what it is. If you want to step the right direction, you take the Ohio kid in Ohio, no doubt about it, or in the Midwest, no doubt about it, because it's different. It's going to give you team chemistry. is going to give you a certain toughness, a certain
Yes.
attitude that the team is going to carry, a great work ethic that you adding to a team and a foundation like that, coming from an Ohio 4.5 star. Now, if we talking about the bottom of the well of the 2s and 3s, then it's a toss up. But if you're talking about a bona fide 4.5, he's certified, and he done been through the rigor of the tough OHSAA, and it's offered a lot, hopefully, and he most likely came out of the GCL, just like our good old recruit out of the 25, 24 class, our corner, battle tested. I'm not worried at all. He might come in and look like Julian Love, so I think a lot of if you had to choose for the situation, you would go Ohio. Now, if this was a different format somewhere else, some other location, you might take more regional. But if you're talking about Midwest teams and what can make Ohio State better, it's Ohio's kids with a sprinkle of a Florida, with a sprinkle of a outside. But that base that you build on, that foundation, is only built in Ohio, man.
And that's my point. That's my point. that's my point, bro. Like, as a program like Notre Dame, you cannot allow the elite players that have skated to other programs over the past 5 years. You can't miss on the majority of them. When you're 70 miles away, you can't. You can't. And unfortunately, we know under BK, we know what the problem is. He has openly admitted that he didn't even want to go after those kids for several reasons. Like, all the kids that Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama want, we don't even recruit those kids. He openly said that. He openly said that. And the only person that really, from things I've heard, the only person that really vouched for Chicago on the BK staff and pushed for certain guys recently was the kid from Chicago on the staff. And with the 2 classes coming in 24 and 25, in my opinion, that's going to be a huge hole to fill. Huge. It's going to be a huge hole to fill. Huge. So Mayer was 3 for me. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CMB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. We spin it different. Mayer was 3 for me. I'll leave number 1 open. Foskey was 4 for me.
You mean number 1 open in terms of what?
My number 1 biggest hole to fill.
No, I'm saying like you have a multiple ones, or you haven't decided yet?
No, I have it. I just want to say that for last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll say my number 1 for last.
Foskey's 4. That makes sense.
Foskey was 4 for me.
I think Foskey could be a good 4, just because we know that it's hard to replace 25 sack leader, even if you say there's his successor there. And if he was there while you was there, I didn't notice it. So you can't guarantee that,
Yeah. I just think you go into games and you have a guy that the offensive coordinator and the other team identify and worry about. Regardless of whether or not you thought Isaiah Foskey was a little lazy early on in the season and he turned it on, he was still somebody that teams worried about. Where he was going to line up at, how we're going to handle him, who's that guy along the defensive line for Notre Dame this year. I don't know if Notre Dame has a guy going into the season that teams identify and say, man, we got to make sure we block this dude.
Right.
For the past 2 seasons with 7 on the field defensively, you kind of had that. And that is an advantage in a sense with the preparation of the opposing offense. So I think Foskey's going to be missed. He's definitely going to be missed. I'll circle back to Michael Mayer. at 3. I think for a lot of reasons, Michael Mayer is going to be missed because if you have Michael Mayer with Sam Hartman, a quarterback that has shown the ability to feed the ball to multiple receivers, I think it would have made Michael Mayer more dangerous, in my opinion, because defenses would have known because of the quarterback, we can't focus on him. I think teams defensively were able to focus on Michael Mayer because they knew the quarterbacks were going to force feed it.
Yeah.
They knew the quarterbacks were going to force feed it.
They knew the scheme. They knew what we was trying to do.
So, yeah. And 5th on my list, I think Brian Mason's going to be missed. I know you might differ. You like your coach, Marty Biaggi. And that's not to say he's not going to come in and do a good job. But I do think, as it sits today, Brian Mason is a pretty significant loss, in my opinion.
Yeah, until we know what we got, Brian Mason is definitely considerable impact. And I think James Laurinaitis fits in that same category. I think all the coaches that left, particularly last year, are going to have an impact. I think obviously Tommy's going to have an impact because we're still running his stuff going on the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that just makes it a little interesting to see how we can, develop from this stage of really a 10-year period where we've been in the same kind of system or operating system that has been here the whole time. We're running
Mm-hmm.
stuff that Cincinnati was running when they got to the playoffs, that LSU ran last year, so it'll be interesting to see what a different style, like for instance, what Luke Fickell is taking to Wisconsin is going to change what Wisconsin looks like from the last 10, 12 years.
Mm.
That's what I was thinking the offensive coordinator under Marcus Freeman was going to do for us, was change the outlook. Like the last 10 years, I feel like I could have called the plays because I know what the play calls look like. They haven't done anything differently. Maybe a little terminology from a structure standpoint, I'm calling out the same stuff and I'm at home on the couch. So to get a drastic makeover like how Wisconsin is going to get with Luke Fickell, I was thinking that impact is what Jared Parker was going to bring, but I guess it's not from what he's saying.
You know who is an honorable mention for me? I thought about putting this player in the top 3. I really did. Tariq Bracy.
Ah, yes.
Reek almost made it up to 3 for me, but it was because of the coaching of Mike Mickens and the depth that's being added that I felt like, okay. But Reek, it was obvious against Ohio State as soon as he went out. You see what happened. As soon as he got hurt, he gets hurt, they go right at his replacement. Tariq Bracy for the last year and a half was absolutely amazing. And the steps he made to improve, I'm looking forward to seeing him run at the Pro Day. I really am. Because I feel like if Tariq can get in that 4 or 5 range, he's going to have a long career in the nickel, playing that nickel slot in the NFL.
Tariq is how I see a lot of what Chauncey Gardner was.
Yes.
Going into the draft, just a guy that he may not be drafted number 1, but he's going to be in there at some point and land in a good team where you can see his talent really flourish. And I think you got to see that as he was leaving Notre Dame, just from the type of guy he is. He's always going to get better. And hopefully, luckily, he's not going to be a top pick going to a team that he has to raise up. He's going to go to a team that has some veterans, hopefully can get him right in line, work some stuff. I really see a Chauncey Gardner situation with Tariq Bracy. It just reminds me of the same thing.
We can go back to the number 1 slot. Now, for me, the biggest loss, this is philosophical, this is recruiting, this is sentimental. The biggest loss is Harry Hiestand, bro.
Yes.
He's the biggest loss. Does that mean that Blake Fisher and Joe Alder all of a sudden not going to be good. No, that's not what we're talking about. Big shoes to fill, bro. It's just flat out big shoes to fill. And now, as we said, hearing from Joe Rudolph yesterday, the players have done a great job of continuing the culture to help the transition of Joe Rudolph as the offensive line coach, which is a testament to Harry Heastand. Like they're hitting the ground running and doing things the way they've been taught and moving the way they've been taught to move and just continuing in that legacy that's been established by Harry Heastand. That's huge shoes to fill, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you can't replace something that has had such an impact through the history of Notre Dame graduating players to the NFL, just having an impact on the successful seasons we've had behind dominant O lines that Harry Heastand has cooked up. I think Joe Rudolph not necessarily going to be skipping a beat, but I do think it'll still have a high level of expectation, a high level of productivity that can help this team win. It may not be at first, the comfort I can sleep at night knowing that I just hope we can just throw the ball and everything else will be taken care of. But I do feel like him being there, Joe Rudolph being there, is going to provide, okay, we may not go to sleep knowing we got Harry Heastand, but we can sleep with one eye open knowing we got Joe Rudolph. So we're coming together. I think this is at the same beautiful point Marcus Freeman putting his stamp on how he builds a staff at Notre Dame. And Heastand was technically a part of what Brian Kelly was bringing in. And it'd be good to see what Marcus Freeman can follow up with that, provided, we think he can go all the way.
This might be off the subject. Do they still have, what is it called, the All 33? That Pennsylvania versus Ohio?
Man, great showcase. Ben Roethlisberger played in it.
Yeah.
Played in it. A lot of great players.
Did you play in it, Left?
I didn't play it. I played in the Semper Fi American game. And I think the year I came out, they stopped doing it. I think it was either my year or the year after.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about that game growing up. Like, yo, this is a big time high school all-star game. Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's talk about some of these wide receivers left. We didn't think that when Kevin Austin left, you can say what you want to say about his production. You knew that was your number one receiver on the roster.
Yeah.
Caveat of the quarterback play given. I still don't know if you knew who your number one receiver was last year. I think coming into the season, they expected Lorenzo Styles to be the number one. I don't know if they gave him the targets. Early on, I think the first 3 games, they targeted him a lot.
Yeah.
And then because
we had Tyler Buckner out there. Tyler Buckner targeted his boy a lot.
Yeah, his inconsistency led to Jade Thomas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Elevating himself.
Becoming more of the relied one.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting, Left, to see which one of these young receivers steps to the forefront. So we talked about our boy with the bass swag, with the chains, Rico Flores Jr. This is a few minutes of Rico Flores Jr. when he met with the media.
Rico, why was it important for you to early enroll?
I'll say it was important for me to early enroll because I made me get my feet wet, start learning the playbook, and start getting familiar with everybody on the team.
And then how healthy are you right now? I know you had that ankle injury in the fall.
I'll say I'm almost 100 for sure. everybody here helps a lot with recovery, like therapy, everybody up there. So they can help me daily.
And then what's just your first impressions of the quarterbacks that you've gotten to work with so far?
They're phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, they're phenomenal. It's a lot different from high school. They put the ball right here on your face, like, turn out it's right there. They do their job pretty well.
We just talked to Brett a little bit about it, but obviously coming in alongside a couple of very talented receivers, how does that help your transition and development?
Makes you hungry, keeps you hungry every day. I mean, you can't never get comfortable or slack because man to the left and to the right of you is working for your position, you know?
So right there, man, competition. Kenny Minchie talked about putting in time, even after practice, coming back to the GOO or coming back to the indoor facility with the 3 receivers that he came in with and putting in work with them. I like Rico. Rico seems like, to me, Rico seems like he's gonna talk that stuff on the field. Out of all the 3 early enrollees, I think out of all 3 receivers, he's gonna do the most trash talking.
Yeah, I do think that Rico has that West Coast swag about him. Definitely very, as you can tell, confident in what he's bringing. And his mentality is like, man, I'm from the West Coast coming to this small, cold, middle of nowhere place. I'm liven it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's the energy you need coming in. But guys like that, man, it's so funny because you Notre Dame's a place that hardens you. So I would love to see, his journey on when things get hard for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't start right away. Maybe he's not getting the reps, and then add that cold and add that wind. See, people don't understand that how weather can make you feel 20 times worse when things ain't going well.
Man.
Just imagine, you don't get the starting spot. You done busted your butt. You worked hard. They Marcus Freeman tell you the heartbreaking news. Now you know you're gonna be in the number 2 or 3, getting minimal reps. You still got to go to practice at 6 in the morning now.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? It's below 10 degrees. So now you're out here freezing, not playing, and you got to go lift early in the morning. 5 minutes ain't even worth it. I'd rather be chilling somewhere at San Diego Community College, Pepperdine. But I ain't going to be playing. At least I'll be in some good weather. You know what I'm saying? Then you going to start looking around being like, man, these ain't the West Coast girls like I thought they was. And you're not playing, and it's cold. Yeah, it's gonna be an experience for our West Coast family that likes to come out this way. It happens all the time. I love seeing it. But the ones that can get through usually end up having a great experience at Notre Dame and really become more well-rounded.
You have to love it.
Yeah, that's really what, like, Notre Dame's a place.
You gotta love it.
Love the aspect.
You gotta love
student athlete.
You have to love it. There is no in between. There is no in between. Like, you flat out have to love it. If I went to Notre Dame, I would be in Chicago every weekend, bro.
You say that, but then it's like it's something.
No. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. If I went, no, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about as a regular student, not a football player. That's
Even
different.
as a regular student.
No. I promise you.
Even the regular students like us didn't even leave that often.
Bro, I promise you. I promise you. If I attended the University of Notre Dame, I would have been in Chicago at least 2 weeks out of the month, 2 weekends out of the month, at least 2 weekends. Strictly for my mother's cooking, period. strictly for my mother's cooking. I would have drove back in the middle of the week, get a 6-wing mild sauce, salt and pepper with the hot sauce on the side from
Well,
Harris.
if you got your own car, yeah, you could do that for sure. I definitely don't mind taking a trip for some good food. But
So I'm
there's
just saying, bro.
something about up there, man. Rico's gonna definitely either be like that or be one that go to Chicago or travel to these places that are close. But I do think that I love the energy he's bringing. And this is, I think, is the great part about recruiting nationally is that you get a
Yeah,
little bit of everything from everywhere, so you don't feel uncomfortable
in
when
the
we're
locker
going
room. Yeah,
in the
yeah,
locker
yeah.
room and when we
Definitely,
flying all the way out to play
definitely.
USC or when we flying all the way down and playing LSU. We
Hmm.
got guys from everywhere, so you can kind of gauge what you're walking into. I can only imagine what a Wisconsin team is feeling like going into a bowl game where they got to play Alabama or something crazy. They're
Surprisingly,
like,
man,
damn, how do we even gauge what that experience is like?
surprisingly, when I was in Champaign, the football team had a man. There were a lot of Florida dudes on the football team.
Oh, but listen, Florida dudes, you're gonna
A
find them in
lot of Florida,
agriculture. You're gonna find them in the smaller schools of anywhere around the country,
man.
and there's gonna be 2 or 3 of them. You be like,
Yeah,
damn, you. They will travel for that football.
yeah, yeah,
Some people be like, I just didn't want to go too far. They're going. They'll be in Rhode Island.
yeah,
They'll be at all the small little JUCOs you ain't never heard of. They be all the way in California. Every Texas school got about 2 or 3.
yeah, yeah.
From Abilene Christian all the way up to University of Texas.
Ooh, not Abilene Christian.
You're gonna have 1 or 2 Florida. You like, how you get from here? Shoot, man, I just came.
Yo, back in the 90s, Abilene Christian used to turn out a nice run of running backs back in the 90s.
That's right.
They had a nice run of running backs that were able to make it to the league. Here's the great one, Jaden Greathouse.
Jaden, how's just the transition to Notre Dame gone for you?
It's been real smooth. I'm really liking it here. The campus is beautiful. It's a little bit bigger than when you have to walk, but I mean, having a scooter is real nice, so it's made the transition really smooth. And the classes are definitely a step up from high school, but it's nothing too much I can't handle. And I've been having a good time.
And then how's the hamstring doing for you? And are you full go for spring ball?
Oh yeah, I'm full go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to put in the work and just show everybody what I can do. I've been working out this whole time that I've been here, and nothing's been holding me back.
Next. Jaden, I know Kenny mentioned you kind of joined your guys' class late, so how has your guys' bond kind of come along, and what's your evaluation of what he's been able to do here so far?
Oh yeah, no, I think Kenny's a great guy. He's a little more quiet, but he's a real sweet kid, and he's a really good person. And we've been able to develop a relationship since the time that we've been here, and all of us mid-years are super close. So we do everything together. So I definitely think it'll translate to the field.
Are you full go and have you been catching passes from him yet, or doing any on-field work?
Yeah. We're always out on the field and stuff, just getting our work in whenever we can. So he's got a great arm. He's got a lot of arm talent. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Kind of a basic one, but talk a little bit about the leadership style of Coach Stuckey and how you guys have kind of meshed so far.
Yeah, no, Coach Stuck's my guy. I mean, I kind of feel like he's a little bit of a brother to me, but I definitely respect him, and he's definitely an amazing coach. We're always in his room or in the wide receiver room, just watching film and trying to get the playbook down. So we have a really good relationship.
So I cut him off short. I'm sorry about that. Talking about his relationship with Coach Stuckey. Look, man, the way these young wide receivers talk about either they had horrible quarterbacks in high school, their senior years,
Yeah.
or the Notre Dame quarterback.
He's comparing the Sam Hartman and Tyler Buckner, Rico, to what he had in high school. And I'm like, yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal difference. So I don't know if he was necessarily commenting the quarterbacks he's at now, or just commenting on the difference of now. You know what I mean?
No. And
It'll
then you
be
listen to Jaden Greathouse talking about Kenny Minchie. He's like, yo, he has great arm talent. Like
now we talking. Yeah, we're
you've
talking.
seen that up close and personal though. You've
Yes, I
seen that
know
up
Kenny
close and
Minchie
personal.
straight, but I do also think that Jaden Greathouse is in a good position as well because of what this transition is about. In my belief, I think this where we are offensively is about the receivers, and we happen to have some good ones coming in at the right time to where they're really Marcus Freeman's guys.
Mm-hmm.
When Marcus Freeman's fast forwards 2 or 3 years from now, and he looks back on his start. This is the class where he's like, okay, this is my imprint. I got that guy Kenny Minchie. I got Jaden Greathouse. They came in first 2 years going crazy. Then we built on that, and now I'm here. So it's still a little bit of managing what he has on the roster already from the Deion Colesleys and the JTs and the Lorenzos, which I do think this is the year, if any year, for them to do it. Because next year, you might have to skedaddle. But this year, I think this is the feature for them that somebody out of that room, out of the three, has to pop and should be a number one. And I think them being a number one of them is going to be great for a guy like Jaden Greathouse to be what JT was last year, which was that third role that's going to come in and get some opportunities one-on-one because they're going to be attention different places. And he can grow into that role of being the future number one in the seasons to come.
Just to update, I told you what was about to happen in the second half, didn't I, Left? Didn't I tell you what was about to happen in the second half?
For what?
What were you talking about, St. Ignatius and Simeon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to show love for St. Ignatius. They were resilient, tough all year. But I told you what was coming. I told you that Chicago switch was about to get hit in the second half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 60-42.
Sheesh.
60-42. Jalen Griffith sets a 3A record with 12 assists. Miles Rubin, 24 points. That's that CPS switch. Nobody else has it, boy. That's that dog.
Yeah, I hear that. Oh. You got to play DPS, Dayton Public Schools. We show you something.
Nah, y'all about a step below. Y'all about a half a step.
We had
Dayton hoops, not football. And hoops. Wait a minute. Go ahead and name the names. You had Norris Cole and who?
Daquan Cook.
That's the best names you can come up with.
I'm just saying that's who we had doing that.
Those are the best names you can come up with.
I'm just saying. Norris Cole. Wait a minute. Norris Cole is a 2-time NBA world champion.
He is
2-time Euro League world champion.
Yes.
And an Olympian and an All-Star.
Yes. All of that. All of that.
Cleveland State legend.
Yes.
Probably right under Chris Paul and greatest point guards of all time. You know, whatever.
Yeah. You done?
Yeah.
You done? Okay. Lucky Park.
Yeah.
Oh man, the kid from Texas that, according to reports, led the charge when your boy, the liar, tried to come back to Notre Dame the next day. Like, I want to be a part of the class. This guy led the charge to say, hell no, Braylon James.
What's it kind of been like working with Coach Stuckey over the last couple months?
Man, it's just been a blessing. I kind of touched on it upstairs, but Coach Stuck is somebody I came in, really close with. We already had a really organic relationship. So just being able to finally get in here and be taught by him is super exciting, and it's a blessing. And our relationship has continued to grow. He's basically a second father to me. He's always looking out for us. So it's super exciting.
What do you think about that coat, Left? We know the sweaters are dope. And the hoodies have been dope. You like that?
I like the simplicity. It lets you know where you at.
Okay.
That gold indie football logo.
Okay.
Might be something that the Lucky Lefty podcast might have to drop as a special on the merch.
Okay.
I had to take the idea, but the coat looks comfortable.
Does the Under Armour on the opposite chest?
I wouldn't put Under Armour on the same level as Notre Dame.
Thank you. Exactly.
You might have to. You know what they do good? They put that X on the sleeve.
On the sleeve up right here.
That looks kind of fly.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a good look, but not on the. eye to eye, because I'm gonna think y'all working together for real when we know it's gonna be a smooth transition
Mm,
to Nike.
yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
real soon.
Yeah. All right, back to BJ.
And then how long have you been rapping?
I've been rapping for about like nearly my whole life. I'd say I wanted to started when I was like 6 years old. That's just something that's always been a part of my life. I started off producing, and now I'm doing more songwriting, more mixing and mastering, learning how to engineer a little bit more. So I'm super excited. Hopefully.
My man is out here doing his DJ premiere back in the dorm room, bro. You think he has a nice setup in the dorm room? Are the dorm rooms big enough for him to have a nice setup with his MPC, his
Now,
tripe?
is he rapping or is he?
He said he's rapping and producing. So he's producing his own beats and he's rhyming.
Man.
Come on, you disrespecting him?
Maybe I'm a traditionalist.
Okay.
I don't believe there's too many hobbies you can have when you're trying to do certain things. Like, if you a dedicated painter and you want to be the best in the world, it's hard for me to believe that at the same time you putting into that craft, you putting into playing miniature golf and putt-putt golf with your friends. So I believe that he definitely can do the rapping thing.
Yeah.
But come on, man. Hey, catch some touchdowns first.
Okay. I'm gonna remove him because the most viral clip goes back 25 years ago. But it might not be 25 years ago. It might be closer. Yeah, it might be about 25 years ago. Malcolm Kelly, defensive back for the Oklahoma Sooners. He probably had the most viral rhymes.
That's cool, but don't be selling yourself as part-time producer rapper like Kanye West.
So basically, you're saying he needs to come like this for you to respect him.
Get quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through, 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, he be running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Listen with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska horn hustlers, man, we diminished. Little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big bins. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends. Holla at Coach Sumlin, holla at the stoops. Let me sit sideways in the two-door coupe.
Yeah.
So,
but that's cool because that's like lunch table rap. It's not like you.
So you're saying that Braylon has to come.
Braylon probably goes home from practice and be getting on, trying to get in the studio and do the little listen, that's too much. I believe Malcolm Kelly would do that in the locker room.
That was off the top of the dome.
Right.
That's literally somebody in the background.
But
giving
don't
them a
be
beat.
trying to tell me you recording these songs and you want me to come listen to them and you working on projects and stuff. Because to me, I feel like you're not being a good teammate for what we trying to do while we here.
What are you talking about now, dude?
I'm just saying, don't be distracting. Trying to be Eminem.
Because he goes. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's being a distraction because he goes to his room and makes music?
No, I'm saying a distraction is where you're promoting yourself as a rapper, producer, over or at the equal to value. Okay, it's the same thing as he's putting rapping and producing as the Notre Dame logo across from the Under Armour logo. That's all I'm saying.
Left, come on, man.
That's all I'm saying.
You like the LL Nation. Left is bugging right now. I thought it was very unique. You just talked about how great
it is unique
and diverse the locker room is when you get people from all walks
Notre
of
Dame
life
has the most diverse
talent.
locker room in the country. We understand that. We have a bunch of Renaissance men, a bunch of future politicians, great aviators. We got a couple guys with a Flyers pilot license, all of that.
Facts.
Yes, it's great. But that don't win games. We need a couple dudes in there that they last meal may come from that training table.
So you don't want him to talk about it until he catches a touchdown.
I'm not saying, listen, like we talked about, the locker room is very, very talented. The locker room is very, very diverse. You got guys that can play 6 instruments, guys that can sing, guys that can, do your taxes, guys that have many different ventures outside of football. In my opinion, if you a freshman, talk about football and the value you bring for football.
He asked somebody was aware of his music and said,
then I'll be like, I don't know about it because I'm here to win. That would be great.
So now you want to be Braylon James speech writer now.
Yeah, because if I want to know all that, those are the conversations you have to get into Notre Dame when you gotta leave the Google and go to make these secret meetings. They're like, so what else do you like to do other than play football? That's where you go tell them, I rap, do this, do that. But in the Google, when you doing interviews and you talk about football, in the Google, talk about football.
Okay, so Malcolm Kelly dropped a rhyme that basically was a Nebraska diss.
It's right? Football related.
So basically, if Braylon James came out with a USC diss track, then you're all good with it.
Yeah, that'd be related to the task at hand. It's like if you go into the military and you go overseas, right, and you on a mission to take out the head honcho, you're not going to be talking about how you collected all the Pokemon cards back at the crib. You're not trying to show your collect. You're trying to do the mission. You're not going to be bringing your catalog of all your cards you collected since you was 10 years old or your Lego set. Do the mission first. And then when we back home, flying home or something, you talk about your Pokemon cards. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. Right? Because I bet you nobody at Georgia talking about that. That's all I'm saying.
Let's commission Braylon to do a theme song for LS.
Okay.
That's what's up. I'll pay him. I'll pay him a little something.
We can pay for that.
I'll pay him a little something.
I'll pay
him a little something. Produce a little track for LL, courtesy of Braylon James. I'm going to hit him up. There you go. Because that's acceptable, right? That's acceptable production.
But don't be out here with your rap name when you leave the Goobs and you about to try to go on tour in the spring and you need to be working out. You see what I'm saying? Like it just
so he can't hustle at all. He can't hustle.
I don't have a problem with guys doing multiple things.
Man, let's get back to Braylon.
Honestly, I can start my own label. That's a dream goal of mine. But
run his own label. Okay, then go do that.
What are your goals and expectations for the spring?
Just growing as an athlete. That's a cliche answer, but just being here. These next couple of months, I've already seen improvement, and just seeing how I can grow even more. Just seeing how I can become a better wide receiver. And becoming a better route runner, I feel like that's something I really want to improve on this spring. So, I feel like that's it.
When you got on campus, did it exceed your expectations? Was it what you expected? Or?
It was kind of about what I expected. Just coming in and finally getting the opportunity to be around everybody. It's super cool because I feel like we're all like-minded, and that's something that stuck out to me in my recruitment and the guys that were in our recruiting class. I felt like we all shared similarities, so we all kind of think the same, and that's something that's really stuck out since I've been here. And everybody's looking out for each other here. I feel like nobody's singled out, nobody feels like a number. Everybody's a brother here. That's something that's real.
Yo, I like these wide receivers. I'm gonna be honest.
I like them too.
I like all of these young wide receivers left.
I like them too. I think they're what we needed for the room. I think it's what we needed for the room.
That was funny with Jaden Greathouse. It's like, yeah, this campus is a little bit bigger than I thought.
Yeah, you feel it when you got to walk all the way across for one little class. All these buildings, I got to go to the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, it's gonna get real ridiculous.
He was always in between two buildings, right? The
Oh my
stadium and the
goodness.
goo.
Man, that's at Florida. It was like that at Florida. Like Florida's a pretty big campus, but you literally only go in one or two places the whole time. Notre Dame, they will send you past the where the little cemetery and the bookstore is, past all that going towards class, and you on the other side at the good, and there's no cars allowed, and you got these bikes that's really not great either. So you have to foot it. That's a whole nother workout, man.
Okay, wait a minute now. Look. I'm gonna let you judge a little snippet of Braylon James. A little snippet of Braylon James, left. Let's stop being disrespectful, man.
It's not
Give a young man a
disrespectful.
chance.
Look,
He's
the
just,
man probably sounds great.
dude, let him do his thing, bro. Let's just check it out.
Never needed one. I was there by your side when you needed one. Meteors was the task I completed them. All my bitches text that I deleted them. Cardiacs for the hate, I'm not seeing them. I'm not trusting no hoe, don't believe in them. If the back touching down, I'm receiving them. Fuck all these rappers, I swear that I'm leaving.
Hey, left. Hey,
it's not bad.
If he did that track, that's a solid track. That's a solid beat. It's solid.
He's not bad, man. I think,
Not
like
bad.
I said, Notre Dame has a bunch of talent. Guys have a bunch of different ventures. They have a lot of different things that are cool, like Doug Randolph. He makes tables and chairs and stuff out of wood.
Like, really?
Yes.
Like vintage. That's a great,
Man,
like
that man
rocking
would
chairs. He could do like the vintage rocking
He'd
chair.
take a tree stump and carve that mug into some crazy table or wood chair or something. Man, yeah. Now his price is a little expensive.
I mean, but
I can
you're
understand
paying,
why.
you're paying for his time, though.
I can
You're paying for
understand
time
why.
and the skill.
He does a great job at that. And that's a friend that I would have, like, I didn't have no teammates like that
Yeah.
anywhere else, but that's an example, so.
Is he on Pinterest?
I'm not sure. Man, this man is like John Henry. He doing dirt bike racing right now, but hit him up, man. He'll make you a table or whatever. You know how to do that thing.
Man, Lucky Lefty podcast. That's what's up.
Corey working at an art gallery, before he was doing NBC for a couple years. He was at the art gallery, Shaun Crawford getting his aviation license. We got dudes doing all type of shit. But I want the ones that's trying to win a championship first. Like, you didn't know The Rock did all that stuff, or 50 Cent did all that stuff until the music was established. Then he started doing vitamin water and all the little business ventures. He just started doing TV the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, he needs to leave. He needs to drop BMF because it's horrible right now.
What?
So it's dropped off. Second season has been absolutely horrible.
Horrible?
You want me to say it again? It's been absolutely horrible.
In comparison to what?
To season 1. It's been horrible.
What has been bad about season 2? It's
the
just
writing.
slower?
The writing and the filming. Did you not see like episode 1 of season 2? Like Charles left the room and came back through the same room. Like the edit was horrible.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? It's been horrible, bro.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think 50 has probably been so focused because I think the release of the Power series starts next week, right? With Ghost and then Tommy in the summer. So he's probably focused on that. Yeah, BMF fell off hard. They fell off hard with the production and the film. And yeah, I'm disappointed.
The season ain't over. They about 8 episodes in though, and ain't nothing shake yet. So.
Nothing shook. Nothing.
So I don't know if this is a 15 season episode season or what, because it's like, damn, something got to happen now.
But did you see the one thing they got right? The one thing they got right and portrayed correctly when they filmed this latest episode and Meech and the crew went down to Atlanta for Freaknik. That's exactly how it was. That's exactly how it was, Left. It was like man.
Nothing like it.
It was so ridiculous. At times, I'm ashamed to say that I was there. That's how ridiculous it was. Like, because you know how the South is different. Just the South is different, bro. It was on a whole nother level. It really was. Lucky Left the podcast. Let's get to some of these questions and super chats before we get out of here, Left. Tyler Fisher, you all going to Old Country Buffet tonight or the steakhouse? Well, Old Country Buffet is defunct in Chicago, but I'm taking to the Putt Shack, the spot called the Putt Shack. It's supposed to be pretty good.
I went to cheesecake last night.
What'd you get, bro?
The pasta Alfredo is pretty solid.
That's my brother gets that. He gets that the joint with the shrimp.
I got the chicken, but
yeah.
Still pretty solid.
Yeah. For the longest time,
pasta.
For the longest time, I used to do. You went to the one in Pasadena?
No, I went to one near me, Cerritos, by Cerritos College.
Yeah, I always go to the one in Pasadena when I go.
Yeah, it's like fake fancy.
It is, but no, downtown Pasadena is beautiful though. It's
beautiful.
You feel like you're walking on a movie set. You feel like you're walking on a movie set.
Give you a okay, I can wear a little button up.
Yeah.
You know, something nice.
Yeah.
But it's like fake fancy because it's missing. Cheesecake is a place that's missing something that is not Roof Chris and it's not.
Yeah. If you take a young lady in high school to Cheesecake, she really thinks you're doing something. More than likely. Crystal Rose. Why wasn't Harry the Chicago guy? I have no clue. Once again, you have to go back to everything that went into that. I have no clue. I don't know what happened to Left. He dropped off. Is Drake actually playing baseball or is he filling water cups? No, Drake's actually playing. As a matter of fact, he talked about it. His baseball days, he gets done at 8:30. Like, was that supposed to be a slight? What does that mean? No, he talked about it in his press conference. His football days end at 5:30. His baseball days end at 8:30 in the evening. We did that one. Drunk Vigo. Shaun, do you prefer nail salon talk over barbershop talk? It depends on who the person is. I mean, barbershop talk is more communal. Nail salon talk is more one-on-one with the person that's doing your services. So I think they're totally different, but I would take the communal talk personally. Lilo Galante, thank you for the super chat. Shaun, have you had a chance to speak with Los Espineza? Not in a while. It's been a long time. Thank you guys for today, this week. It's been fantastic. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Yo, Paul. Petticoat Junction brought to you by Nora Whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. at Premium American Whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. Paul, that's what's up. Hopefully, rappers have more championship instinct than classical pianists. Everett goes in I mean, Everett played in a national championship game, though. So I don't know. And Everett, if you look at his stats, Everett played pretty well in a national championship game, if I'm not mistaken. He was running for his life most of the night. Let's check it out. Let's go to the box score. Yeah, in that game, Everett was 21 of 36, 270, one touchdown, one interception. I thought Everett, and they took a reception, a big time reception that he threw to Tyler Eifert down the left sideline that they overturned. I thought Everett, for a freshman, played pretty well on the national championship stage. Yeah. So, yeah, IHSA, go to the petty train today for making high school kids play a 10 o'clock game in the semifinals of the state tournament. It's beyond ridiculous, man. And for the longest time, the most talent in the state is in the northern part of the state when it comes to sports. Well, specifically Chicago and the surrounding suburbs, and going further northwest. And all the decisions are made by people in southern Illinois. And it's become a problem, right? They constantly do. The Chicagoland area finally got an opportunity to have more than one team represented downstate. You guys don't understand. Well into the 2000s, they forced all Chicago teams to play each other in a city tournament just to make it downstate. And it was absolutely horrible. Like, there were years that the top 5 teams in the state were all in the city, and they had to vie for one spot in the state tournament. It's ridiculous. They finally got it overturned, and now we can get multiple, but they make the multiple teams come out of the same section. Coach Vic, I'm sorry, bro. I said the most talent. Get out your feelings. East St. Louis doesn't compare to the amount of talent that exists in Chicago en masse. Just doesn't. You put all the schools in the Chicagoland area, football and basketball, together, collectively. I didn't say the best. I said collectively. There's the most talent. The only thing that you can say about East St. Louis is that it's probably the top combo program for football and basketball in the entire state. I'll give you that. East St. Simeon's probably there. Mount Carmel. For a while. What's the other school downstate that Corey Williams that went to Arizona for basketball? Oh, Peoria. Peoria Manual for a long time. Had both. So, but no. If you're going to compare one small area of the state to the entire area of northern Illinois, the amount of talent is not even equal. But I'll give you the best combination of football and basketball. You got anybody for the petty train left? People are laughing. People are laughing because they said, in your rant about Braylon, you were saying, man, this dude talking about, hopefully he doesn't talk about starting a label when I hit the next clip. And that's the same.
Hey, you see why I be so mad? It's like, man, come on, man. But you go do it then. It's just too many eggs. And put the one that's getting you the furthest right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. That's absolutely funny.
But that just speaks to the generation is always trying to do more and trying to be better, man. You know, it's good to hear young kids wanting to take the next step and not just be an employee their whole life. You know, I think that's pretty cool to hear. But listen, you can't do everything at the same time. Win a championship first, and things get a lot easier.
Anybody else? I see someone wants to nominate Draymond Green and that dude from I don't even respect Dylan Brooks, so
Really?
no, I don't. No, I don't. I don't. I don't respect.
Y'all, man.
Say it again.
What did Dylan Brooks do to y'all, man?
Because he's a poser. He's lazy. First of all, you're not hard. You're not hard, number one. Stop.
It's true.
Just put in the work. Put in the work to be a respectable NBA player. Stop trying to be this tough guy to elevate yourself. And dude, just put in the work. Just put in the work. If you're not good enough athletically, or you're not good enough skill-wise, then to live on that. And be Dylan Brooks. Yeah, this whole fake, I'm hard, tough, man. Dude, stop. No one's buying it.
You're not buying it?
No, not at all.
So, yeah, it's pretty much it. It's good for the Culture Friday, man. Not too many on the train for me today.
All right, man. I'm putting Brad Underwood. Coach of the Fighting Illini on the petty train.
Why is that?
This dude, after another loss to Penn State, literally went to the press conference and complained about a player using booty ball. This is how he described it. They went to booty ball late in the second half, and it's unstoppable. And I just don't understand. They have a rule in the NBA to stop this from happening, and I don't understand how somebody can control the ball and the dribble that long and affect the game in that way. Penn State lost 10 games in the conference, dude. And your goofy self calls somebody backing you down unstoppable. So I guess the other 10 losses where he wasn't unstoppable, you're an embarrassed dude. Please, somebody come give this man the bag so he can lead Illinois. Please. He's horrible, man. Just horrible. And I swear, every time they lose, he says something more embarrassing than he said the previous time.
It gets worse and worse, huh?
It gets worse and worse, man. I can't understand this dude. I just can't understand this dude.
Crazy.
All right, Left. Anything about Snowfall you want to get off your chest, bro?
I didn't watch it. I know. I'll watch it right now. I know.
Man, we'll be back Monday with the defensive guys and some more intel. Lucky Lefty podcast. Have a great weekend, but most of all, you got to make sure that you spend it different.